bop, bop, ba-da, bop, ba-da, bop, 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 ba-da, bop, bop, ba-da, bop, ba-da, da, What's up, everybody?
Hey guys.
We're here at Nerd Shit in the Dark. Me, Braden, together, in the flesh. Say hi, Braden.
Hey. Hey, Braden.
Hi, Braden.
Hi, Braden.
Yeah. Hi, Braden.
We have imbibed in the spirituals.
Nice. Solid use of imbibed. And we are ready to go off into... It's a different episode here tonight, gang. It's different for a couple reasons. Reason number one, Braden and I are together in the flesh for the first time in like...
A while. Months. Yeah.
And podcasting, almost over half a year. Definitely over half a year.
Yeah. It's been a while.
It's been a little while. That's one thing that's different. Second thing that's different is... my girlfriend's here tonight. Miranda is here on the show. She doesn't want to say a lot, but she is here.
Her presence, you can feel her.
You're going to hear her laughing, for sure.
Yeah.
So, just so you know. So we have kind of a live audience.
Yeah.
So, second thing about tonight, we're together and we have a live studio audience.
Yeah, so we are not only performing for you virtually, but for people in the flesh as well.
Wow. Give us a round of applause for that one, huh?
Yeah.
They won't know that it's not her. They won't know.
That's right.
They're going to think it's her.
Thank you, Miranda.
That was great.
That was a great round of applause.
Third thing that's different tonight. There are dogs present. I don't know if we've... Well, no.
There are dogs about patrolling around. You might hear some yips in the background, but just means they're doing their job.
Mm-hmm. Fourth thing that's different about tonight. It's not dark out at all. In fact, you can hear that it's very much daytime in the background.
Daylight savings time has
sprung,
made liars out of nerd shit in the dark.
Right. But maybe you're listening to this in the dark, and you're the nerd shit in the dark. Maybe it's not us. Maybe that's not our show's name. That's you when you're listening to it.
In the dark.
You're that nerd shit in the dark. We are represented by the fact that we are nerds. It is like, it's culture at this point. It's cultural.
Nerd culture, as they say.
Fifth thing that's different about tonight. The Russians are invading the Ukraine.
World War III is about to start, but we are going to be with you through it all, listeners.
And Braden and I, we are begging. We're on our knees begging that if there is no proof out there enough from our lives, looking through our history, to say these guys shouldn't be drafted and should fight in any war ever, I think we testamize it a bit in this. Like this podcast itself
video
is
evidence.
Clearly representing why
evidence,
we should not be drafted in any draft to any wars ever.
We should not be near any kind of conflicts where some serious decision making needs to be done at a rapid notice.
No, absolutely not. So, also, we're in our home
neighborhood, so there's going to be some background noise.
There's going to be some dirt bikes. There's going to be people who really just like getting muddy.
We're coming at you from an underground location. This is rustic.
And I'm pretty sure that's all I got for the differences. I think there might have been something else that I had earlier when we started talking, but I've forgotten it now as time has progressed. So
we should get into it then.
We should probably get into it then, absolutely.
Great intro.
Great start. Nailed it. I think, you know what I think should become because it's every episode so far. You know how every like podcast or show thing kind of has like their usual things. Yeah. I feel like one of our usual things is at the end of every one of these intros you say, we nailed it, I think. I'm pretty sure you've said it in every one. And
probably, because we have
I think we
nailed
should
everyone.
continue. Yeah, I don't think we've done a bad job since. I think this could be the best one yet.
This is probably the best one.
I think being in person really does something that the online way doesn't really.
Well, you got the endorphins flowing more between us psychically.
I'm more excited to see you.
Yeah, our pheromones are just interacting crazily with each other.
Can I tell you a funny story? Funny story about one of Miranda's dream spots. Do you mind if I tell him that story?
Oh my god, that's the worst dream ever.
So, kind of not early on. It was probably it was after we had met you. She'd met you.
This was only like.
It was like December.
Maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah, it was maybe like January. She has this dream where she was in the dream like you and I basically run off together and we're like a relationship.
Oh,
and
I
break up with her for you.
Accurate.
And like I was like texting you or something in the dream, and you were like, "Who you texting?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it," or something like that. Something like that.
I mean,
so I thought that was so going along with what you were saying about the endorphins and all that flowing, but also our like physical attraction to one another is
it's there
in peak. So let's dive in. Let's get this show on the road. We're already 7 minutes in. New nerd shit.
New nerd shit.
New
nerd shit. So, I have been doing a lot of YouTube binges, pretty much all of coronavirus pandemic at this point. And
yeah,
I stumbled. This channel that I've recently been watching a lot of, just having it on in the background.
Look, I'm having deja vu.
Is Red Letter Media. It's already a very popular YouTube channel with a pretty large following, but Red Letter Media basically reviews.
I've definitely heard that name before.
Yeah, they're well known. And they basically just review movies for a living.
Huh. And is there like specific ones that you like? Are there any that you've watched?
Well, see, they
that
pretty
you could
much
recommend to everyone?
Any box office movie that came out within the past 10 years, they probably have a video on. They also do segments where they review B movies, like terrible, low-budget B movies, and then they pick the best one that was the worst one out of these terrible movies. But yeah, they basically there's a group of guys that just get together, review movies, and talk about what they liked and didn't like about them. They're not professional critics.
Sort of like us.
Sort of like us.
Sort of like what we do here.
Kind of like pretty much exactly what we do here. Anyways, yeah, they're most well known for their Mr. Plinkett reviews for the Star Wars prequels. It's considered like the granddaddy prequel review. Like, it pretty much covers anything that could be said about those movies.
I wish I could hear my grandfather review the prequel Star Wars movies. I'd like to know his thoughts.
Yeah, I'm sure they would be interesting.
He's dead, so...
Even doubly so.
Yeah, it'd been crazier if you reviewed it. I'd be like, Grandpa? Holy shit. So, I mean, I don't want to give any of like their thoughts away, but what do they say about the Star Wars prequels?
Oh, well, you'd have to watch the videos yourself, because they say, like I said, pretty much everything that they could say. It's sectioned off into multiple videos, and the videos themselves have sections within them, because some of them are pretty long, like over an hour. But yeah, they cover everything from character analysis to set design to story structure to random miscellaneous shit that they thought was weird and funny.
That's always what I'm in for.
Yeah.
When people have those kind of thoughts.
Yeah, and they can be pretty harsh, but it's because they watch a lot of movies, and it takes a lot to impress them, just because they've pretty much seen anything that you could see in a movie.
The movie X-ray vision.
Yeah, but they're pretty fair, and they consistently get it right when it comes to how well a movie's going to be received. The good movies, they can pretty much sum up why they're good, and they can point out some things that need improvement. Yeah, and they're already pretty well known, so they don't need a shout out. But it's Red Letter Media.
It's cool to know that you're listening to.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I like to check
just,
it out too. I like to hear thoughts.
Yeah, I just like to have their videos on in the background. Like they're like like birds in the background.
Yeah.
They're like over. Most of their videos are like 45 minutes to an hour. It's just something you can just have on, and
Can we do our own? I want to write a movie, and it's kind of like it's the sequel to Angels in the Outfield, and it's called Birds in the Background. Just the way you said that, it made me think that. But yeah, well, you said okay, guys. I'm gonna come clean. We talked about this a little before we got started. So it might sound a little rehearsed.
That's why it sounds a little awkward.
But I do have a question to go off of based on something he said earlier, which was they really liked Palpatine in the...
Yes, so I remember you asked that question earlier because I said they pretty much outline everything that's wrong with the prequels, the Star Wars prequels, in the Mr. Plinkett reviews. And you asked, do they have anything...
I demanded.
You demanded if they have anything good to say about them.
I slammed my hands.
You did?
Really,
yeah, I was
like,
scared.
do they have anything good to say?
I thought you were going to come at me for a second. The one thing they love about the prequel movies is Palpatine. They say he's just a hammy villain that is evil because he loves to be evil, and that's all you should want in a Star Wars villain. And he just is having a fun time with it.
Yeah, Palpatine is definitely the best part of the prequel. One of the best parts of the prequels.
Oh, for sure.
They I don't think anybody would complain and be like, "Well, they fucked the Emperor." No.
That Yoda fight scene, are you kidding me?
Yep, yeah. It's nuts. He's doing backflips. I can't do that at 28.
The spinny
He's doing
force
it at
backflip.
like fucking 60.
Yeah.
Maybe even older, younger. It's hard to tell. They film those movies so fucked up. He's supposed to be older when he's a younger actor. And then
they did a good job at keeping it looking pretty good.
God, am I glad he stayed level with you. Because you know what? Even though people don't like the sequels much, at least they can be consistent with their actors.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like if Palpatine was recast, or he wouldn't even be in it at all. It's like,
yeah. And then you get into the whole like reviving dead people thing, and that gets weird.
Yeah.
Ethically.
Yeah. Right.
Grand Moff Tarkin, anyone?
Yeah. It's weird how that one passed.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That happened. Nobody really cared much about that actor. Like, if people if they did it though with Leia, or for say more recently a Black Panther thing, people would lose their goddamn minds.
Right.
They'd want Disney.
Yeah.
Out. Yeah,
Done.
That's how mad. It wouldn't happen, but that's how mad. It'd be a whole thing. We'd see it on the internet.
Because it's essentially like recasting them with a ghost, you know?
Right. And you don't want to recast them, but you certainly don't want to like...
It's like they're a...
When I set my drink down.
It's like they're digital zombies.
Yeah. Their eyes look weird.
It's so... Yeah, it's the
I think
uncanny
that's the
valley.
thing.
It's the... you can tell there's nothing
Tarkin
behind it. Yeah.
Wrong. I haven't liked it in anything they did it with. Especially the more recently, we've talked about this. Fuck, man, these birds are having a party.
I think they're having a fuckfest right now.
It's a great... It's spring. Love's in the air.
Ducks were doing it.
Ducks were doing it yesterday. We were by the pond.
That's probably what's happening right now.
They straight ducking.
They're all getting their birdie prom.
Yeah, their little twisty dickies in. I guess that's ducks. Birds, I don't know what birds' penises are like. Not important.
Wait, do birds have sex? Or does the male just fertilize the eggs?
I'm almost certain birds have sex. I don't know for sure.
I have no clue. Someone email us. If birds...
Swag, after you listen to this, I want you to look it up and text me. I'm not gonna. No, I don't want to know. I don't want to look into it. I want Swag.
We're doing that.
We're doing that
content creator thing where we have our fans do work for us.
Right. If any other people listen to this by now, even in the future, send me your text. I don't even care. Even if I know already, I just want to know. But Swag, for right now, I want you to tell me. I'm sure they do. It's more the how, but I want do they and how.
Yes.
There we go.
Are the penises?
Put in the comments.
Corkscrews.
Or do they? Yeah. We want everything you can tell us about the mating habits of the average bird. Robin, maybe not like a hawk, because like a duck's a bird. It might be a duck, but it's a bird.
It's a bird.
So they have sex.
They count. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure other birds do as well. We'll get there.
Right.
Star Wars, Palpatine, evil. Oh, people being CGI
resurrected.
versions.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say
CGI
was
zombies.
Yes, the Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian, though an awesome scene, he looked wrong.
I thought he looked terrible. It took me out of it. Like, I thought that scene was great.
When he first took his mask off, it looked fine, and then once he started going, like,
once you focus on
things,
it, you can tell it's just off.
It's not good, and you know what's crazy? They have the ability to make that shit look better.
Yeah.
They just don't. Like, people on YouTube will be like, what's that other thing they use to switch faces on, like, YouTube and, like, Snapchat and shit? There's a name for this, like, type of thing, like, way of doing things instead of CGI.
Yeah. Well,
and
de-aging...
it looks so good.
De-aging is just essentially stretching out the skin digitally until...
The thing is, if you're going to spend the money to do it better than that.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Scene's awesome, though. When you're not seeing him, the stuff he's doing as Luke Skywalker, cool.
Maybe they ran out of funds to pay the CG artists.
I don't know. At that point in time, it's Disney Plus's only show, so they should have just been pumping anything they could. I'm sure it'll look better. I'm sure if they do more with it, it'll be better. I just don't want to ever see it again.
Well, Disney is also known for taking stuff that they've already released and remodifying it and re-releasing it.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that once they can revisit that and fix it and make him look a little less odd, just off.
Yeah, weird. Not correct.
No, yeah, you could just... It's that uncanny valley.
Yeah. Not digging it. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on all that. I feel like I could really dive into Star Wars. I think maybe we should come back to Star Wars later on.
Yeah, we should have a Star Wars section.
Sure should.
Especially
since you're starting to read, like, more into the old expanded universe. Yeah, I bet we could have a lot to talk about once. You could probably remind me some things. These are books that I haven't read or looked at. I used to look into, but once Disney was like, that doesn't count, I didn't keep, like, going back to it.
As did a lot of people.
But I read it when I was middle school, early high school. But, so I decided for this episode, for another just special occasion, since I don't have any new nerd shit, I'm going to punish myself. I'm going to punish myself for not getting anything ready for this by admitting a guilty pleasure that I had over this week of nerd shit. Sort of nerd shit, not really. Ooh, I started watching just because, you know, YouTube, the algorithm, and you just scroll, and you'll just start watching something because you have, like, just a little interest in it, right? So first I started with it showed the Zoe and Chase from Zoe 101, their relationship timeline. Like, Nickelodeon posts these videos that they've made of, like, their best moments, and there's like a narrative. No.
At all.
That's why I really wanted to dive into it. So I watched that one first. They're like 10-minute videos, and it takes you back because you would watch this stuff. And the thing about me, gang, is I loved that show, and I had no right to when I was like 14. It was I shouldn't have been watching this show, but I was totally into the Zoe 101, and I think it's because one of the main characters had the same name as me.
And hair.
Hair was like we look alike. Maybe not now, but like at that point in time in my life, I looked like this guy. So like I think I connected with this show in a way. Because, you know, I'm gonna get a little therapeutic with the world. I didn't really like the way I looked at that age, but then when I saw that like this guy was on TV that I looked like me, I was like, man, I'm not so bad looking.
And he was considered attractive to Britney Spears' younger sister and Victoria Justice. Mm-hmm. I think. Well, I don't know.
In the shows. I don't know if them specifically in real life.
Right. I mean, the characters were written like that, but
I'm not sure if Victoria Justice's is. Maybe for like an episode.
I have no clue.
Because they don't want to take.
Watch that.
Well, Zoe, who's played by Jamie Lynn Spears, is the main character, and like nobody, they wouldn't want to do like a weird love triangle with one. The show, it's a Nickelodeon show from the early 2000s. Like, they're big on friendship.
Zoe 101.
Zoe 101. So I watched that, and then I started watching other ones, like other relationship timelines. I started watching them even to like shows I didn't really watch. Like, I watched the iCarly. It was the Sam, which is the other girl that isn't Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah.
And then the Teddy. I don't even know his name. He's their camera guy. I watched their relationship timeline, and like that was an interesting one because I remember starting watching that show when I was younger, and then I stopped. I was like, "Oh, those two ended up together? How'd that play out?" So I watched that.
Yeah, I actually watched a few episodes of iCarly not too long ago because it just got put on Netflix.
It did, and they're coming out with a new series of it. I don't even know if it has the same characters.
Some of it's
Miranda Cosgrove looks identical today as she did ever. I feel like I watched School of Rock and I see her now and I'm like, that's the same kid.
Yeah, she's one of those people where the face never changes.
Yeah. And neither does the acting ability.
Nope.
So I watched that.
McCurdy doesn't want to be back in it.
What's that?
I heard that Jeanette McCurdy doesn't want to be back in it.
Who's Jeanette McCurdy?
Sam.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, well, her character, so the timeline, it went, I guess that character, Sam, was on a different Nickelodeon show.
Sam and Cat with Ariana Grande.
Exactly. But it was the same character. So their relationship carried on into that show.
Yeah.
So you watched it play out. It's a real classic, will they, won't they?
That's also interesting because Ariana Grande was originally from Victoria Justice's show,
Mm-hmm.
Victorious.
Yeah, they really
Victoria Justice got famous from Zoe 101.
Sure did. Yeah. Famous. She's around.
You're right.
You see her.
Famous.
She's not, like, in anything crazy.
No.
Like, it's not going to be, like...
But I remember her name.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see her in things, you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's her.
At least something good. I liked Zoe 101. It was good. I made my friends at the time watch the finale when it came out. Chasing Zoe.
Wow, so there's relationship... There's just YouTube videos of just, like it just shows all the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Like, there's even one of, like, Josh and, the girl he dates.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember her name, but the one that he's with the whole time.
Yeah.
They hate each other first, but then,
Right.
So things like that. I started watching all of those. Mostly Nickelodeon. Miranda's nodding her head at me. They weren't bad. Like I said, guilty pleasure. I didn't have anything for new.
Hey,
it was when I came home early from work. I just
someone else
after like the migraine died. Yeah, Nickelodeon made. Sure did. They were on my timeline because they had tons of views. I don't even know how they. YouTube just knows. They secretly know your thoughts, so they knew to like, we'll plug this here and see if we catch them. And I had scrolled past it for probably weeks. I would see it and just like, I'm not watching that. And then finally, it wore me down.
Got the brain worm in you.
Mm-hmm. The YouTube brain worm got me good. So I too have been going down a YouTube rabbit hole. It was one day. It was Tuesday. That's it. This hasn't been an ongoing thing. It's just something I did.
just a one-time
thing
of the relationship timelines.
Mm-hmm. Especially the ones that I had watched in my life. It took me back to like thinking, like there's this whole thing with Zoe and Chase where he like. It's a real will they won't they situation as well. That's
as they usually are, yeah. Because they have to stretch out this plot line as long as possible.
Personally, I'm going to get a little into this. I blame things like that, like Nickelodeon and TV in general, that does this with relationships and characters. I think it's because of shows like that I watched my whole life as to why I have struggled with getting a girlfriend my whole life. I have one now.
They set unrealistic expectations.
Well, not even unrealistic expectations. I think I was just taught to like be nervous and afraid to tell girls how you feel. You know what I mean? Like I was taught that the guys should be that way at a young age, so I just like that's who I became, was like somebody who was afraid to talk to girls.
Right.
Even like now, even like in my future life where I have like a plethora of just female friends, so like I'm clearly capable of talking to females, but then if I like am interested in one, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm doing great now though. But like seriously, it was one of my things that I struggled with severely. Was severely with.
I mean,
and I think it might be because I was taught. Even The Office, Jim is like 30, and he's like, I love Pam, but I'm not gonna tell her
how I
thing.
feel.
Yep. So like, how did like?
Yeah.
I did not expect this to become this, and expect to dig this deep.
Oh, buddy, yeah, I know.
But I really believe that sometimes.
Probably a lot of things stem from
It's
our childhood.
fucking a miracle that I have a girlfriend right now. I love you, and because I'm just so bad at it. So to even get one is good, but also like I don't want to ever have to do any of that ever again. I don't want to go through it. You know, this is another thing. You always hear like adult men from our childhood that like they complain about their wives or they like want to get back in the game, and I'm just like, no, fuck the game sucks. I'm so bad at it.
The game's weird.
The game is terrible. It's caused me more trouble in my life than anything else in my life.
It's a troublemaker.
Other than like people dying or something.
Yeah, it sure invites trauma.
So yeah, things are going great, I think. Do you think?
I think.
Yeah. So thank God, and thank God that's over with.
Well, that's great.
But I blame these shows. This is what I did. That's my new nerd shit. We're about a half an hour in. I think we should probably move on. This is a great episode. I'm gonna want to listen to this again immediately.
That's so bad.
Hey, Swag, how do you like that? Miranda's been commentating saying that you're gonna hate the sound of our cups hitting the table, so I can't wait for that. Onwards. Old shit. Old shit? Any old shit. This is a spot where we talk about older
stuff.
Older news stuff.
That we might want to revisit.
Or, something we've already talked about, or just like something that we've just discovered that is old. We'll talk about it.
Right.
Try and think if there's anything.
I have old shit, but it's actually related to the new shit.
Go for it.
So I mentioned how in Red Letter Media they do this segment. It's called Best of the Worst, where they review terrible low-budget B movies and decide which one's the best one. And it got me into interested in B movies in general, because there's
the B movie with
the B movie. Jerry Seinfeld is a B. Not that one, but
there's other ones.
There's like a whole culture around B movie watching, and just like watching these terrible low budget films that are from the 70s and 80s, and making fun of them, and sometimes finding things that you genuinely enjoy about them.
Yes.
Because these movies, since they're low budget and terrible, just do crazy stuff that make no sense.
Compare it to a Fast and Furious movie. Of no-sensical just shit they pull out of their ass.
Like, literally, a lot of them you can tell are, like, unfinished or just plain lazily done.
Oh, that's too bad. So not really as well as Fast and
like
Furious.
Like, boom mics and shots, terrible acting, no, plot lines or story structure.
We watched a really B-movie version of some Thor movie on Sci-Fi a couple weeks back, maybe like a month or so ago. Terrible.
Thor, the Marvel character, Thor?
Not really, more the mythological. Yeah,
Thor.
It was a Thor,
okay.
God of Thunder sci-fi thing, and it was like, it came out like 2017, but you could have thought it came out way earlier and just bad. Just terrible to watch. Like, there was a scene, there was like a serpent at one point that was just like sci-fi has so much money that they are not using to make their sci-fi stuff look better.
I think it's intentional. I think
it's like part of their
because sci-fi is one of those channels that is like kind of a part of the B movie culture, where like they like to show terrible, low budget sci-fi films that are typically knockoffs of better movies.
Fucking hard hard to watch. So I give a lot of people credit for that are making their whole like YouTube livelihood off of just watching those because it's a chore.
I actually have.
It's painful. It's funny.
Speaking of, okay, so this is the tangent that I wanted to actually get to. So I got into like kind of watching really bad movies and like just trying to find things that were funny about them. And we bought a B movie pretty much. You can tell it's like a low budget B movie on DirecTV the other day and watched it as a family. It was called Assault
Family
on...
B night movie.
Yeah, it was called Assault on VA 33, I believe, was the title. And it's basically a Die Hard ripoff, except instead of Nakatomi Tower, it's in a veterans hospital.
Okay.
And Sean Patrick Flannery from Boondock Saints fame is the lead.
Okay.
And
that's a very appropriate role for him.
Yeah. I did not recognize him.
He's really only famous from Boondock Saints.
Yeah, and I guess Boondock Saints was a long time ago, and so he's
19
aged.
Something.
And that he kind of fits the role because he plays like an aged veteran with like PTSD that goes to this hospital for therapy appointments, and he gets, trapped in the hospital because terrorists take it over because they want to assassinate this general that goes to this hospital. And it's one of those movies that's bad in a good way.
That's good.
You can tell that they are doing Die Hard, like to a T.
Yeah.
To the point, like there's even a scene where a helicopter comes in.
They say, "Hey, buddy, you're gonna die hard right here."
No, they didn't get that blatant, but there was. We all laughed because there was a scene with a helicopter that came in, and it was shot down immediately. But this helicopter was never set up to come into the story. No character ever mentions the helicopter again. Like, there wasn't anything of, like, did we send the helicopter to go get it? Like, the cops just found out that, like, this hospital was under attack, and, like, they're still putting together a response team.
Yeah.
And there's just this random scene of this helicopter being shot down. And it literally just flies past and gets shot down. And we're like, why is this scene in the movie? No, like, the characters don't even acknowledge the helicopter.
Right. Even the people that shot it down are like, whatever.
Right. And like it's never mentioned. It's never brought up again in the movie. And I'm like, that was weird. And I realized it's because they shoot down a helicopter in Die Hard. And so they wanted a scene where they shot down a helicopter, but they didn't know.
But where Die Hard had the context.
Right. I like how to like work it in. They just wanted that cool shot.
That's a very B movie director type of thing to do.
Right.
It's just like, we'll just shoot something, and if it sticks, it doesn't.
But the funny thing is that there were some things that were surprisingly kind of good. Like, all the villains were really likable, and, like, had characters and, like, relationships with one another, and you knew all their names, and they, like, bantered with each other, which I really liked that.
So you could even say this might go for a B+ movie?
Yeah, I could say it's a B+ movie, but I would recommend it because it's one of those movies that's bad in a good way.
Nice. We watched a movie the other day. I don't know if it would be considered B movie. It's not from this country. It's on Netflix. It's kind of new. I think it's called Just Say Yes. We walked in, Jared and I walked in on this, probably like 20 minutes into this fucking dumb fucking movie. I could see why people would like it. We watched it was dubbed, so it's like a Dutch, I think it was a Dutch production or something like that, and it was dubbed over. And it was really jarring because like they looked like people that could just be speaking English, but they weren't, and nothing was, just the way it was recorded was very, like, cartoons can be dubbed and that's it. Real people don't dub well.
No.
And it was something, man. We first of all, we walked in 20 minutes or so late, so we didn't know what the fuck was going on with some subplots. It had the basic, like, girl is friends with this guy, they're gonna date, they work together, something, he helped her out with some dumb plot that you could predict. But it had some twists and turns along the way, so, like, it was a very easy movie that we sat down and we could have stopped watching. but we decided to watch about an hour and a half of it, and just, I think what makes it cheesy was the dubbing. It might be better if, I don't know, subtitles, if it was just in English of a movie, but because the lines just sounded bad. But I mean, it was whatever. It was whatever. It was, I don't know if people are watching this shit, but I don't know. Because I don't know if to call it a chick flick. Like, oh, guys, if you want to watch a movie with your girl, watch this one. I don't know who this movie is for. It just exists.
One of those movies where you kind of ask yourself, how did this get made?
Like, I just don't know who's watching it and really into it. I think you have to be. But, like, I don't know. The actors and actresses all, like, it wasn't a B movie in the way that they looked like shit. Like, they looked good enough to just be real celebrities, but I don't recognize them at all. So they're still, like... But, like... They're just attractive-looking men and females. The whole... Like, you know what I mean?
People
so it's like, oh, they could be famous. They could be famous. Even, like, the funny guy character was, like, a real believable funny guy-looking guy. Like,
well, hey...
Like a not Chris Pratt kind of guy was this one dude. He wasn't in it much, but he got a remote stuck up his wife's ass, girlfriend's ass. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. It was.
How did that happen?
She did like a flip or something. They were gonna have sex. I don't know. It was stupid.
It seems like a convoluted comedy thing.
It was, but it was like serious at times too. Like. One of the plots was, so we're trying to figure out what this movie is as like we're first starting watching it, and one of the plots was like the main girl was supposed to just be like not good looking, I think, because one of the things they did was like, well, you know how we're gonna make this work? You're gonna get a makeover. So she like does her hair and puts like a dress on, and it's was she, oh, she's attractive now.
Did she wear glasses and clothes that didn't compliment her body before?
Yeah.
Yes, like a t-shirt, but it wasn't like
did she wear her hair
really,
up all
like,
the time?
like you wouldn't watch this and
really?
Until it got to the point where she got fixed up. I didn't think what they were going for was like that she was supposed to be ugly though. You know what I mean? Like she was just like, I was like, terrible. Oh, she's kind of like punk rock looking because she just has like a t-shirt on and her hair's down, and then they were like, well, you gotta get a makeover, and I was like, oh, so now the plot kind of goes around her, like people like her now because she's pretty now, but like it didn't go that way. Like she just got a makeover and like everything was still pretty much the same. So
because they needed to have that makeover scene.
Well, there was this character.
Romantic comedy cliche.
There was this character where so she does the makeover. She walks by this guy who then like starts to notice her, and so there I'm like, oh, she's trying to get the attention of this guy. But I found out later that this guy is her ex-fiance. So like he already was attracted to her at one point, anyways. It's just she dressed up once, and he was like, oh, I want to be re-fianced to you, and it's like, what? What the fuck is that about? Like, you were already gonna marry her, and now you want to marry her again because she's dressed up. You never saw her in a dress? Like, what the... It was so dumb. So it didn't go on that line. Then it became like you wanted to root for her guy friend, who I thought was her boyfriend for a good chunk of the movie. At one point, I'm pretty sure calls him my boyfriend. Like, she goes, my boyfriend's here. And it's this other guy. And there's another scene where, like, he's at work, and she's, like, FaceTiming him, and she has, like these really, like, bedroom clothes on, and she's like doing a thing for him or something, and then like his like coworkers come in and they cut off it, or she gets another phone call and talks to somebody. She comes back, his like boss is there, and his boss is like, oh hey, like it's dubbed really fucking stupid, but no, they weren't dating at all. Like it was just supposed to be the friend thing.
What is this movie called?
Just Say Yes.
Just Say Yes.
And we're still not even like, this is all done, and there's like 45 minutes of this movie to go. It gets crazy, and then like her sister's getting married to this guy. I'm spoiling this whole movie for everybody. It's a B movie, just take my word for it. I'll sum it up real quick. Her sister's getting married to this guy. They're going to this bachelorette party the day before the wedding, of course, because people do that all the time, only in movies.
Right.
And so they go out, and all the while, like all this is happening, and there's this subplot going on from the future where the girl who is the main character is telling a story. She's in a wedding dress, and she's on a bench talking to like one of her friends or something, recapping why she's in the wedding dress. So it's going back and forth through that. That's the whole movie, is the sub. So you're figuring out through that. So, it goes to the bachelorette party.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now. Please, how does it end?
And they go to the bachelorette party, and they all get really trashed and wasted, and they split up. Everybody goes and does their own thing. The main girl, her like sister snaps at her because she's drunk and she's a bitch, and that's what happens. And so she leaves the group and goes back to the hotel room and puts her sister's wedding dress on. And then the sister is out doing something, and then she comes back. So then this girl has to leave. So she like spills something on it, and she doesn't want her sister to see it. So she jumps out like a window to get away, and like runs to her fiance's house, the guy, because she gets back together with her ex-fiance in the movie because he like asked her to go to dinner while the other guy. I never thought I'd be telling this story.
Can I just say, I have no idea what's going on right now. You've completely lost me.
What?
I cannot follow what is happening in this movie.
It's all over the place, man. So she got back together with her ex-fiance because while the guy friend, who I thought was her boyfriend, was over, he came to the door and was like, hey, do you want to go get lunch with me? And so she looks at her not boyfriend, I guess, who's just there hanging out playing with like her niece or something, and she looks at him and she's like, do you mind if I go? And he's like, no, that's cool, I'll watch. And she goes on a date with this guy, and then he's like pulls a wedding ring back out, and he asks her, will you marry me? And she doesn't answer, but then everybody in the scene is like, she said yes! And like, so they're re-engaged again, even though she didn't say anything. And I'm like, oh, are they just not gonna acknowledge that? And they don't for a while. But at the end of the movie, she tells him, when they break up again, she tells him, I never said yes. And it's just like, did nobody notice this at the time? So...
Sounds so bad.
It's really bad. It's really bad. I'm not done though. So it goes 43 minutes. So
40 minutes.
I'm not done. So I gotta stand up like you now. So she goes to her new now once again fiance's house to stay there, like to hide. And one of the girls from the bachelorette party, the girl, her sister who's getting married's best friend, ditched the party at one point in the movie. So you're like, oh, where'd she go? She's banging her now again fiance. They're having an affair.
What?
They're having an affair. So she gets there and she sees this. She's like, what the fuck? And she leaves. And she goes, and now cuts to her sitting on the bench with that guy in the wet. So now you know why she's in the wedding dress. And he convinces her, hey, let's go to your sister's wedding and tell these people what the fuck's going on. So, and you're like, why are they so empowered about getting to this wedding? It's insane. I think he convinces her, like, I can't remember the friend guy's name. Let's just say it's Nick. And he's like, dude, you gotta go get Nick. Like, Nick's your guy. So they get on this moped and they drive. I thought they were still sitting over there. I was like, Jesus. And they drive to the wedding. She gets there, and her sister sees her in her ruined wedding dress and just like attacks her. So there's this fight, and all of a sudden, like, she's like, your best friend was fucking my fiance, and you knew it, and you didn't tell me. This is just bitch fight going on, and all this is happening. People are pissed off. Nobody knows what's happening really. And then she's like, you don't care about anybody. You don't even care. The guy that her sister's getting married to, he had a dead wife.
I've not been paying attention to.
Come on, he had a dead wife, and I guess the sister threw the ashes of the dead wife away, and so she says this out loud, and the husband doesn't know it at first, the gonna-be husband, and so he leaves. He's pissed. He hates, and she's like, please don't go.
whatever his name is, and
How long is this movie?
we're almost done, and because it wraps up really quick. There's all this so now everybody hates the main character for coming and saying all this, ruining the dress. So they all ditch her. Even the guy who she's talking through the whole movie, who drove her there on the moped, even he's not there for her after this. All like he's gone. She's all alone. There's this whole thing. The sister's sad. She's sad. Her boyfriend. One of the subplots with Nick is that he got a job in like a different country, so he goes to leave the country. So she can't even get him back now. And she goes to her sister and she's like, I'm sorry about that. And like her sister's like, it's all right. And so her sister's like, we're gonna get you back together. And like she just goes, there's just time off screen where like certain characters are doing certain things, and then for some reason, without much explanation, the guy who's mad about the sister is throwing away his dead wife's remains. is just back, and he's like, I love you, and we're gonna get married again. So they get married, and there's this whole big scene where they're like, you gotta go to the airport and stop Nick. And so she runs and she gets to him, she tells him his feelings, and he has them as well, and they kiss, and you're like, good. But then she narrates over top. It's just like, but that's not how my story goes. And it flashes back, and she got there, and he's gone. So the movie's wrapping up. Like all these subplots are coming to an end.
Oh, it's wrapping up.
Yep, and everybody else gets their fairy tale ending except the main character. And the main character is accepting that sometimes that's how life works, and it's actually a solid ending because that's life. Sometimes things just don't work out, and you're like, oh wow. And then right when you start to think that's what's gonna happen, Nick shows up, and he's like,
what?
Because they're at the wedding of the sister, and they were like, we invited a special someone, and he just shows up, and he's like, I love you, and they kiss, and the movie's over.
What was the movie's name again?
Just Say Yes. It's on Netflix. Yeah.
The entire retelling of Just Say Yes.
Except the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie, because I don't know what happened.
You don't know what happened the first time?
No, because I told you we walked into this movie. It was already playing, like, in my mom's house. Brandon, would you say that was a pretty good recap of the movie, though?
There was a lot of back and forth.
I did not say it. The movie's told a lot better than how I just told it.
I definitely watch it to know what the heck just happened.
I can't wait to re-listen to that. So, yeah. I get what you say about B movies.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Great segment.
Is there any other old or new business that you would like to discuss?
Can't be, no.
You're right. This has gone on long enough. And we've only talked about really one thing.
It's good. This is all gold, though.
Oh, dude, I love it. I'm so happy about it. God, I wish we could do it in person more often.
It's just spectacularly a shit show.
You're learning a lot about me in this, too. Like, I've confessed some things
really, I feel
that
like the show's really developed your character.
How about it? That was one of the things we were going to do in this whole thing, was have these, like, crazy backstories and follow our lives. And, well, here you go, everybody.
Here you go.
Jesus.
Whoa.
It is now. I just want to also say, it's now dark.
It is now dark.
It's dark. We are officially. We were nerd shit in the light. Now we're nerd shit in the dark. The birds are now crickets, little peepers.
Little peepers. It's calmed down significantly. You can tell it's nighttime now. The morning, the evening birds are gone.
Caught the worm earlier, and then just flew around all day, and now they're sleeping.
Yeah, they're all nestled in their nests.
I really killed a lot of time talking about that movie. Which I think for this episode was for the best, because we didn't really have a lot.
That was good. Should we talk about...
DMX died today.
DMX did die, so did Prince Philip.
Yes.
And, yeah, World War III might start. Yeah.
I just feel like those are some honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions of what's going on to date our video.
Yeah. DMX.
DMX, yeah.
X gonna give it to you.
Rough Riders for life.
Shame. 50.
Yeah.
Buck.
Shame.
Alright. Weep shit then?
Should we do Kong?
Oh, Godzilla? God, yes! Jesus! forgot that we were even planning on talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's not a lot to say about the movie.
Not a lot to say.
It's basically what you would expect, but it delivers.
Right. It's
With
what
what?
you'd expect.
It's exactly...
It delivers on what you want.
It's exactly what people wanted.
It's what you want to see when you go see a Godzilla movie.
Right.
You're not going to see an Oscar winner. You're not going to see, something that's even super compelling story-wise.
No.
You're there to see some monsters fight shit.
You want to see the big monkey punch the big lizard and feel good about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just have fun. And they do.
Yeah.
It's good. The camera stays on them. Like, I feel like in other Godzilla movies, they would go on and
They
off.
would cut away to the humans all the time.
But this one,
they stop that.
You get to enjoy the fight for what it is.
Prolonged shots of just them fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so fucking good.
They keep the stupid human shit to the minimum.
It's there. It's stupid.
There. It's stupid. Everyone has already said this about this movie.
Some of it's better than others. I feel like... So here's my thing. I feel like if they would have took the time and energy that they put to make a stupid plot with 11 and the guy that's ratting out the company he works for and not getting
Deadpool
busted.
2 guy.
Yeah, and Deadpool...
Fire Fist.
Yeah, the Deadpool 2 kid. They could cut that out entirely and put a little more focus on more interesting things going on with the Kong people.
Right. Well, I've told this to you probably twice now. I said, cut out all the stupid human shit. Make Kong the protagonist. Because he can carry a movie on its own. This basically is Kong's movie. He already is kind of the protagonist.
But he still loses.
Which I liked, actually.
Oh, dude, of course. I was rooting for Godzilla.
Right.
Makes more sense.
I was rooting for Kong, but I liked the way that he was beaten.
Yeah. You're rooting for Kong. Fuck you, man. Jesus.
He's the good guy.
You're one of those people.
He was the good guy in the
He's
original.
not winning a fight against Godzilla.
I know. I knew he wasn't winning that fight. The axe gave him a bit of an advantage briefly, but he kept losing it.
Yep.
He wasn't great at holding on to it. He lost it multiple times.
Yeah.
I was like, Kong,
God damn it.
choke up on the grip a little bit. Get more leverage.
Quit just hacking it at him.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, but, yeah, I said cut all that shit out. Either make Kong the protagonist and focus more on him and make it more his movie, which this is a Kong movie, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Kong movie.
He's definitely more of a character in it than Godzilla is.
Yeah. Or pack that runtime in with Godzilla shit.
Yeah.
Because Godzilla felt kind of just like not his own character, which I guess Godzilla isn't really a character in the movie. He's more of a force of nature.
In all Godzilla media. Like, you could say he's a little more character-y in some of the older shit, but like, just like the plot with the humans, you're not looking for Godzilla to do anything other than fight some fucking things.
Right.
And be a monster.
He's
a monster.
He's a force of destruction that comes about. Sometimes he's a defender, sometimes he destroys cities.
Mm.
But yeah, the fights were great. I loved all the trippy Middle Earth stuff, even though I felt like they could have spent more time there and expanded.
I called it Middle Earth too.
Middle Earth stuff,
It's called Hollow Earth. But
Hollow Earth, yeah.
I also called it Middle Earth yesterday. Yeah, they could have dived in. Like, I wish, like, the whole movie, they're just like, well, Godzilla and Kong have this ancient rivalry, and you're like, oh, what's that about? And they're like, they have one.
Right.
And then that's it.
They hint at an ancient battle between multiple Kongs and Godzillas that happened in the Hollow Earth before, and they show none of it. None of it. We don't get to see it at all. Not one scene of just a bunch of monkeys running towards a bunch of lizards.
Yeah, nothing. That would have been cool.
That would have been so cool.
Something.
It would have been the dumb monster shit that I wanted more in this movie.
But once again, not needed. Just something more that we could get. It would be nice.
Like I said, you could really just pull out any human scene and add more monster stuff, and it would make it a better movie, probably.
Yeah, I think they put in... when you compare it to the other monster movies, they do put in a little more monster shit in this one, so you're like, okay, thanks.
They've definitely learned their lesson, and I understand that we need the human characters to at least save some of the budget so we don't have to make a 2-hour movie of full CGI monsters
that look great. Like, Godzilla...
Right, the
looks
money was well
amazing.
spent
Yeah.
this time, and
All
a lot
three
of the
of them.
fights were in the daytime, which is another fixed criticism of King of Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people complained that the fights happened at night.
All of them didn't.
All of them happened at
In,
night, in
Godzilla.
rain usually, so it was like stormy and hard to see. But a lot of the fights happened in the daytime.
Yeah.
There's one night scene, but it was in a neon.
It is
city.
very lit, yeah.
Very lit.
It's
Very
lit as fuck.
lit as fuck.
Man.
It was so cool.
Litif. That's what the kids are saying.
Yeah.
Litif.
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 It's Litif.
It's Litif.
Yeah, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, I didn't expect realistically, Kong shouldn't have won that fight anyways.
He does a lot of things throughout it, like the way he fights. There were a couple times where I was like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna kill Godzilla," because he's fighting just things he does. I'm like,
Right.
Godzilla's just beating him down,
He's
but
using
he's like
his-
climbing buildings
Right.
that shouldn't be big enough to hold him. And
Kong definitely ranks better in agility, maneuverability,
like tactics.
tactics. Yeah, I think he's a bit more intelligent in his fighting styles than Godzilla. Like, I like the part where he kind of like threw that thing to distract Godzilla and like just
Jumped on
ran
him.
him through a building.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
But Godzilla brute force fucked him up.
Exactly. Godzilla
Killed him almost.
killed him almost. He had to
Killed him
literally be saved.
Killed him almost twice when you think about it.
Really?
Two times in the movie. Godzilla drowns him. The humans help bomb
I mean, that
save
was
King Kong.
To be fair, that was a very skewed fight in Godzilla's
I'm
favor.
aware, but still, he still lost.
Yeah, and
Kong can swim.
I like that. Like, you know, they made it believable. Like, they gave some respect still to Kong's character. He won that one round against Godzilla, but Godzilla didn't stay down long.
I don't even count that. Like, I was like, Kong won this round, and I was like, why? Because he stood up first. Like, you just cut to a different scene. It's the
Yeah.
same fight.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the same fight.
Yeah, you're right. Because
Yeah.
he did.
They just wanted to add a.
Godzilla got up pretty quickly from that.
It's the same scene. It's just they do something else for a minute. They cut to 11.
Yeah, I mean, Godzilla is literally a nuclear monster that can shoot nuclear beams.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and,
he used that
Godzilla
move.
kept missing. I was like, fucking hit him, and then he did. I was like, thank you.
I was like,
Jesus,
I mean,
that's all it takes.
It's realistic that he would use that move a lot because it would be an instant kill if he landed.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it roasts his like arm,
Right.
and then he breaks Kong's arm. That's why when Godzilla wins, he just fucks Kong up at the end there.
I also believe that he kept missing though because Kong is a bit quicker and
Well, yeah,
easier to
they made
dodge
it
than
believable
Godzilla.
that he was
Yeah.
missing it. Yeah, I'd agree. But boy, was I happy
Right.
when Godzilla won and put his foot on. How about it? I was very pleased. I looked at Miranda. I was like, I'd say that's a win. All right, like that's the movie saying that Godzilla won.
Yeah, I
and
mean-
5 minutes later, he was like, we need to use a defibrillator on him, and I was like, oh wow, he almost murdered this guy. Because it's like they make Godzilla be like, I'm giving you mercy. I'm gonna let you live. But really, it was like, you're gonna die. I've
Yeah,
already
he's
won.
dead.
I'm out of here. It's
yeah,
like, oh Godzilla.
yeah. I felt
Fucking
the Kong character turn to fight Mecha Godzilla was whatever.
Why not?
It didn't make sense, but it was also like it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
You knew it was gonna have to happen anyways.
Yeah. You could honestly say Kongs are better people than Godzilla's because Godzilla honestly is just the blatant racist throughout the movie. that's
Right,
just
they made it pretty
attacking
clear that
Kong.
Godzilla
And
just
then
doesn't
Kong's
want.
like, I'll help him. Fuck.
Yeah, Godzilla just doesn't want any challengers to his power.
Right.
Kong didn't want to be king; he just wanted to find his family.
He barely even wanted to do that.
Right.
Trick him in.
He kind of just wanted to relax, but
Yeah.
he ended up getting into.
swing around.
That's the thing. I think Kong's mind wasn't completely in it either. His heart wasn't in it.
Oh fuck off.
He could have fought. He could have kept fighting at the end, but he put his axe down because he didn't want to. He didn't want to be king. He wanted.
Ah, that wasn't it.
He wanted his
It was
babies.
Godzilla being like, "See you, dude." Yeah. It was like a moment where they're like, "Hey, we boys." He wasn't like conflicted.
I guess we can interpret it our different ways.
It's art, I suppose, but you're wrong. That's all.
Uh,
Yeah. So Godzilla vs Kong, it was of the two things that I was looking forward this year, it was one of the two, and it's over now, and I got what I wanted. I really liked it. I'm gonna watch those scenes for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I hope they make another one.
They kick Mechagodzilla's ass.
Yeah, that was great.
It's a good little team up. I said to her after it was over, and I said this last night, I'm gonna repeat myself. And Swag, I told the Swag, so when he listens to this, he's going to hear it for the second time. Technically the third time I've said this. But that when I watched this movie, it looked like how Godzilla fights looked to me when I was like 4 and I watched these. Like, they don't look like that at all. But as a kid watching, like,
your imagination.
Yeah. I said if I was a 4-year-old and saw this movie, my head would explode. It would like turn to mush like a fucking Indiana Jones Nazi. Like,
it really is a shame that the 4-year-olds today will not understand.
They'll just see that and be like,
right, it was like, oh, this is the standard.
And then watch the old ones and be like, what the hell? This made that? Jesus. Yeah, it looked everything I ever wanted in a Godzilla fight scene to look like. Watching Kong and Godzilla throw Mechagodzilla through a building.
Oh,
if I told 4-year-old me that, he'd be like, oh my god, I made that happen with my toys in the bathtub the other day.
Grab an arm and just wham. Boy, they weren't concerned with saving Hong Kong, but I also...
No. Hong Kong got...
Congratulations, we saved the city, everyone.
Yeah, and that's all the American characters that are there saying that, and all these Japanese people are like, fuck you, get out of our country.
Pretty sure Hong Kong is its own thing. Well, not anymore, but...
It's like Narnia.
It's not Japanese, though.
It's just a place all in itself.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
No, they fucking... so what I said before when I watched this, I like that they went up... Like, I love that the final fight took place in Hong Kong. Godzilla destroying Hong Kong, how classic. And they hadn't done that with Godzilla in any of these movies. So
yeah, it was great.
And they went and they fucked up... Yeah.
Yeah, that's
fucking... Hong Kong,
which I guess San
decimated.
Francisco is in this universe is technically also
not good.
Like no one lives there anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people
also
died.
Destroyed.
Also destroyed.
So I guess Hong Kong
Movies.
and San Francisco are dead cities in this universe.
I have this friend, one of my longest friends of my whole life. I was in his wedding a few years back. He was talking to us a couple weeks back, and he has trouble watching like superhero movies now because like they're always destroying buildings and shit, and he hates it that it happens. He's like, do you know how long it takes to build a skyscraper? And like all the work that goes in, and they just destroy. They don't even think about it. Like he went on a huge tangent about that, and then we saw this, and I was like, well, Ryan would hate this movie.
Every time I see a giant skyscraper get destroyed like it's nothing in a movie, I just think of 9/11.
Yeah, and like,
and how
that's
like,
just two buildings going down from one plane.
Two buildings going down from two planes, and the fallout affected a good portion of the city.
Yeah, it is debatably like one of the biggest like
people still have health issues today.
Oh yeah, just on that, but it's like one of our biggest tragedies that has ever happened.
And it was two skyscrapers.
Yeah, if any of these movies actually happened,
right?
Holy
that's the thing.
Mother of God!
Like they have to make it movie. But if it was realistic, you would not be able to see shit.
Right.
There would be ash.
Movies are a place where The Rock can bust out of a cast that he's wearing it with a flex.
Exactly.
An army just broke out.
Exactly. Hong Kong would essentially be in a nuclear winter because of all the ash from the skyscrapers that were destroyed.
Dude, every time Godzilla blows a hole in Hong Kong
crust
into
of the earth.
hollow earth, a place that people don't even think exists.
I was going to say, oh boy, that's going to fuck up the tectonic plates there.
Sure, oh yeah, the world is in trouble. COVID.
Right.
Try Kong versus Godzilla.
Wait for all the earthquakes that are about to happen from that.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. Dumb movie, great movie.
Dumb movie, great movie.
Yeah.
Fantastic. A movie that if it was not a Godzilla versus Kong movie and it was that, I'd be like, that movie sucked.
Right.
But because it is Godzilla versus Kong, I'm like, that was cool.
It was great. It was really cool.
It's fucking tits. It's everything I wanted. I think I gave it a 9 out of 10 on like my Godzilla scale, which isn't the same as my other scales, but for Godzilla movies, 9 out of 10.
I definitely think it's the best one in the MonsterVerse.
I don't think it's the best movie in the MonsterVerse.
Besides maybe Godzilla.
I think
2014.
Kong Skull Island is a good movie.
I did really like Kong Skull Island.
I think it has a good plot. The people are interesting. The Kong, I think as a movie, Kong Skull Island's the best one. As a monster brawler, Godzilla versus Kong all the way. Because you even get the side fights where Kong fights those fucking bats, and like there's all those kind of monsters in Hollow Earth.
Kong Skull Island reminded me a lot of the 2005 Kong.
You missed it again, just right off the porch. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go on. It reminded you of the original King or 2005s.
Yeah, the 2005 King Kong, which I liked a lot when I saw it. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I have to piss. I think I might go over there if that's okay. Yeah, but keep going.
Gotta shake.
Right.
But yeah, Kong Skull Island reminded me a lot of the 2005 King Kong movie with Jack Black, where they're kind of like going to Skull Island and like everyone's getting picked off, and
yeah, it's like a horror movie.
It's like a desperate survivor situation. That's a way that you can make the human plot lines interesting.
Yeah,
not just like people running around a broken city trying to help the monsters, like people genuinely just trying to survive from these massive just terror threats that there's like nothing
honest
you
to
can
God,
do about
man,
it.
if you flip like 11's part, just like them trying to survive through this whole thing, instead of what they're doing,
it'd be way more tense.
It'd be pretty cool, yeah.
It'd be a lot cooler, of just like, because you get to see like that was one of the things where I didn't like as much. They didn't really focus on the destruction at all. No characters really acknowledged like, oh my god, like tens of thousands of people are dead now. Like people are just like, oh, Kong won that round.
It's the end. They're running like there's all those people in Hong Kong that are pumped. They're happy about
I was just like that's a little weird that like they're not even acknowledging that this is like the biggest catastrophe to ever happen in humanity.
Hong Kong is Hong gone, man.
It's Hong gone.
and they're like, yeah.
Millions of people live in Hong Kong.
Godzilla's dead. And it's like, yo, Kong and Godzilla fucked this place up before Mechagodzilla got here.
Right, I'm like, what a PR nightmare. How are people going to still like them now?
Yeah.
This was essentially just like a I'm harder than you contest. And they destroyed a city over it.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to expect that people still view them as saviors of humanity.
Yeah. Nobody knew Mechagodzilla was even a thing.
Right.
Before everybody in Hong Kong was dead. There were people in Hong Kong that didn't even know about Mechagodzilla.
Well, thank God they were here to
died.
stop him before they destroyed the rest of the city with their beef.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Anyways, dumb movie, great movie.
Dumb movie, great movie. I'm gonna go pee, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Weebity weebity woo.
Fill some air, say some shit. Give an advertisement or something.
Yeah. So this podcast is brought to you by Under Armour.
Underarm Hour.
Underarm Hour.
It's spelled old English.
It protects your tidbits when you're cold. That's all I can really say for Under Armour. That's a plug. We better receive a check from Under Armour after this. We're advertising to our...
Yeah, Swag's gonna buy...
Swag's gonna buy so much Under Armour after this.
We want a percentage of that profit margin. He buys like socks. I don't even know if they make socks. Good. Glad we got that one out there. And of course, NordVPN, who everyone...
And MeUndies.
Do we even count if we don't plug NordVPN? What's that razor that you can shave your nuts with?
The Manscaped.
Manscaped.
Or whatever.
Yep, they're them and... MeUndies. All right, we're back. I peed. It's weeb shit time. A few things in the Weebiverse before we go over our typical go-tos. Attack on Titan ended this week.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I will. That's why I brought it up.
No, never mind. I don't want it anymore.
Okay. One Piece then.
Stop.
So, So Attack on Titan ended, and a lot of people are not happy with it, at least online. I feel like with everything...
You said they compared it to Game of Thrones.
They compared it to Game of Thrones.
Which, that is a bold statement.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that statement in itself, too. But the thing is, I think the people that hate things are always the loudest. And even though a lot of people online are bitching about it, I think there are still a lot of people that like it. It's kind of like... and I know this is controversial to say, and it's because of people like this that it even is controversial. It's like The Last Jedi kind of situation where it's a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like
polarizing.
People love this movie, but people also hate that movie.
Right.
And like you see, most things you see about it are the bad things, but it's because the people that like it, they just like it, and the people that hate it fucking want to see it burn.
And we both fall on the line we both fall on the line of loving The Last Jedi.
Yeah. I mean, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's fine.
Definitely not. I definitely think...
The things that are bad about it, they are there, but they're not the things that people think are the worst about it.
And I think The Rise of Skywalker made it retroactively worse. But I didn't really like The Rise of Skywalker. I still like The Last Jedi.
Yeah. And I've even started to warm up to the... You kind of have to.
I like that they
have to like it because it's... Yeah.
That's Star Wars stuff, though.
So, yeah. But it's a good comparison. So I've seen a lot, and it's only been out for 2 days. Like the chapter came out 2 days ago, and I've seen a lot of like people not really sure how. I think that people. You wait a month between chapters with Attack on Titan. It's not your weekly release.
Yeah.
And
it's like One Punch Man.
Right. And so they had a lot of time to build up all these like thoughts and theories and yada yada yada, and like time goes by, a chapter comes out, you got time to like die down on it. You don't see a story play out in a time frame that if you just watched like the whole anime and got to this ending, maybe you'd like it more. Yeah. Because I think they had time to like, oh, it's the last chapter, it's gonna do all these spectacular things, but it's like all the events had already happened. Like it was over, and then there was another chapter. There was the closeout chapter, and people wanted like this big reveal in the last chapter. It was just like, well, no, it's just over. It was like something's ended, and some things didn't wrap up. What?
So it was just basically an epilogue chapter.
Kind of, with like an epilogue with an ending to what was happening. Like for me, it worked. Like it did enough that it worked. I think I need to like read all the like last arc into it and to really like take it all in. But whatever. But people compared it to Game of Thrones, and I was like, listen.
Yeah.
The Game of Thrones finale is fucking awful. You're right. But honestly, it's not the worst thing about Game of Thrones. It's the entire 8th season is what sucks about Game of Thrones. It isn't just the last episode fucked everything up. The last episode was just like, we're done. We already fucked it up.
Right, which is why it's such a bold statement to compare to Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is like the gold standard for fucked up endings.
Right.
It literally annihilated the fan base.
Right. And it's like...
I've never seen it before.
Well, Attack on Titan, like, covers everything it's set up. Like, all the things that people are mad about that didn't happen are just things that they, like, boldly speculated would happen. Whereas with Game of Thrones, there were things specifically set up and talked about that just never paid.
Happened.
Like, it's just...
they forgot about them.
They're not the same thing. People are just mad that they got an anime ending to an anime and not this, like, fucking second coming of Jesus.
Right.
And are comparing it to... what I consider the worst fucking thing that's ever happened to media, which is Game of Thrones.
I mean, the internet can be a little dramatic sometimes.
Yeah.
Just a little.
We're known for it. Does COVID explode as much as it did without the internet? Hard to say.
But you liked it. You liked the ending.
But it's fun. Like the chapter that came out before this was so fucking cool. It was Lidif, if I may say, that like it was ending as it was. Like it was an ending moment. So like I don't know. I liked it. I think it's fine. I think it'll go down just fine. I think people are really overreacting right now. But once you look at it for what it has, this kind of open-ended, not like it ends, but like it doesn't go the way even the main characters plan for things to go in the end, or you maybe as a reader who wants this done, happy little ending. It doesn't. It ends a little open-endedly, but in a cool way that I like. And it's just watch it when it comes out or whatever. I don't know how much Attack on Titan you've even seen.
I've seen up to season 3.
Okay, so you've seen all of 3?
I don't know if I've seen all of 3. The last thing I remember was they killed... This might be a spoiler.
It's fine. It's season 3.
Spoiler for season 3 of Attack on Titan. They killed the giant Titan that was like the king. The king.
And, so you've seen up to the end of the first part of season 3. There's a second half.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen
really fucking good.
I don't think I've seen the second half since I want to pick it back up again because I was following Attack on Titan a lot, especially during season 1 because I loved season 1.
Right. Season 3 is pretty. The end, that last bit is awesome, and it shakes the whole world of the series, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely want to return to that.
It's
series.
still worth watching, and honestly, and the one good thing I saw though was that Totally Not Mark guy.
Yeah,
he had been like posting things for like a week now that he was saying, I got a big project that I've been working on. It's coming up next week.
I saw his Attack on Titan video.
And it was the Attack on Titan one. It was 3 hours. I haven't watched all of it yet, but he said like Attack on Titan is literally my favorite fucking like thing that's come out, and like that's ending included.
Yeah,
like,
shout out to Totally Not Mark on YouTube.
Love his videos. Really fun to watch. Smart guy. But I was so excited to watch. But it seems like he's fine with the ending, or at least likes it.
Yeah.
So that was good to see. And I think I think it's gonna be fun. I think if you don't like blow your expectations out of the water, you'll like it.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the risk you take with long running weekly manga release, or monthly, I guess, manga release chapters like that. People love to get into their fan theories, and when things don't work out the way they predicted, it can sometimes feel disappointing, even if it's...
Not every finale is going to be Breaking Bad's finale. I think people need to think about it like
I feel
that
Breaking Bad definitely spoiled a lot of us because it was just
sometimes
a perfect
things
series.
just end, and it's like... Yeah. And I've seen some bad ones, so it's like, I'm pretty forgiving.
The more I think about Breaking Bad, the weirder it gets, because it really is just a perfect series.
Yeah.
It didn't screw up the ending.
Mm-hmm.
It was consistent the whole way through.
Yeah, fucking brilliant.
The acting was...
Amazing. Yeah, Breaking Bad's gold standard.
Yeah.
So that's all I really want to say about Attack on Titan without jumping into any spoiler territory.
Yeah.
So that happened. Attack on Titan, and I can't remember if any... Well, on that note, I feel like you can...
We should
appear back into the light. I haven't seen your face in hours because it's like this bright light and just your silhouette and your voice and maybe like a little bit of your teeth. So yeah, that was awesome.
That was great.
Thank you everybody, especially Swag, for watching.
Thank you.
Gives us something to do this for. I really enjoyed this episode.
This is a good one.
So I'm gonna send this one around like I usually. Thanks again for coming out.
We love you all. Please give us clout.
'Cause if you do, then you will see.
We are the best friends for you that could ever be.
So join us here every couple weeks or so.
And let us give you nerd shit in a box to go.
I fucking hate you guys.
All right, everybody. That's Nerd Shit in the Dark this week. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
We'll catch you later.
Yeah.